Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another RC Conspiracies. Tonight we have some special guests with us, Trever Adamo and Jeremy Bunting. We'll be rolling here in about 2 minutes or so. We'll get going, give everybody a second to get in, get settled with some popcorn or whatever. Get ready to talk RC monster trucks, and we have a little bit of a teaser today from Losi we'll talk about for a little bit. And then we'll talk about their race series that they've got out for you guys, West Coast in California. There's 2 of them, north and south for you guys. Anyway, if you're coming in late, check the description. I'll put time in there when the actual talking starts so you guys can jump right to it. We'll be right back in just a minute, guys. Josh Rhodes in the house. Raquel, the right one. Trailer Trash RC. Troy Hobby, Super Drakes. Bars and Tones. What's going on, guys?
Shady silhouetted images and industry teasers are finding their way into our homes and invading our minds. Their calculated information is delivered to feed our addiction for radio-controlled frequencies. It's an RC conspiracy. But we are on your side, cracking the RC code. Because the truth is out there. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast. Get your decoder rings ready and put on those tinfoil hats because your fearless leader is here. Please welcome your host, the lead RC conspiracist, Tony Cece. Welcome to the RC Conspiracies podcast.
Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another RC Conspiracies podcast. It is going to be a good one here tonight. We're going to be talking monster trucks, and I've only really known what's going on the East Coast, and so tonight we're going to find out a little bit about what's happening on the West Coast for you guys from 2 groups that are in North Carolina, or not North Carolina, that's where we go race, in California. And so we'll be talking with them in just a minute. The shameless promotion stuff that we like to do here at the beginning. If you guys don't know about it, we've got t-shirts and stuff that you can pick up on the store here on the YouTube page right in the middle. If you go to our page, you can hit the store, and we've got t-shirts, masks, face masks. You can wear those stickers. RC bashing is not a crime shirts, all that kind of stuff. But we're not gonna sit here and talk about this tonight, guys. We've got other things to do, so let's get in here, Trever and Jeremy, and let's talk to them about monster trucks. What's going on, guys?
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited, actually, because of the Losi stuff, the dirt that we've been waiting 8 months for. We got a picture of some dirt and some tire tracks. And it says monster trucks to me. So that's good news. And hopefully if it follows some of their other release stuff, it's not much longer after the teaser start that we hear more and more. So, yeah. I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
Super excited on what's coming down the pipeline and what's all the future plans. It's going to be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah. And you are with Team Losi for a long time. You said. So tell us how you got involved with Losi really quickly, Trever. And, you probably know that there's cool stuff coming. Can't talk about it. We know, we get it.
Yeah, I've got a long history. I've been racing since, I first raced in 1990. First race truck was a Losi JRX-T truck. Had a clodbuster back then. I stepped away for a little while, came back in 94 and raced nonstop pretty much till today. In 98, no, late 97, early 98, got picked up. My first sponsor was Team Trinity. Brian Kinwell was actually the one that got me on the team.
Wow.
In 2000, I swept the Reedy International race in the open class TQ and won both classes, which still hasn't been done to this date. In that following March, I got picked up by Team Losi, and I've been with them ever since. And I've actually run their cars pretty much my whole career, other than when they didn't have four-wheel drive car. I ran Yokomo cars way back. And in the 2013 World Championships, I had to run someone else's four-wheel drive because we didn't have a four-wheel drive car then. Other than that, it's been all their stuff and my whole career. It's been pretty awesome.
That is cool. Jeremy, how about you? You're not Team Losi, are you? We can talk a little bit.
I
right?
wish.
We can speculate.
Trevor was.
I'm not on Team Losi either.
No,
so
Trevor was doing like pro racing stuff when I had like a Radio Shack Wild Horse, like with a 2-inch wheelbase. So no,
I was playing Zelda. I think.
Yeah,
I got in late.
Yeah, same.
They're saying you were pretty smooth though coming in, Trevor. They said, "Look at that. He's got his own little walk-in here into the show." Josh Rhodes says, "Yeah, your own little walk-in entrance."
That wasn't planned, but that's pretty awesome right there. It's funny.
Yeah. And they say you've got some product placement as well in the front. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So Jeremy, so you didn't get in as early as Trevor, you're saying? You were doing the Radio Shack stuff.
Yeah. Well, I had like a quad as a kid, but then I got a car in high school and I sold it. And I didn't even care about RC until like mid 2016, I think. It's all, well, Trevor will dive into it more later, I'm sure. But basically, James, who helps with the SoCal Monster Trucks guys, he built Donald Epidendio some really sweet trucks. And so after seeing those, I was like, okay, maybe I'll give this a shot. And then the SMT came out, and the first edition, it was just kind of a cool cage and axles and take out the rest. So he built me one, and then I met Trevor and a bunch of the SoCal guys at a race in Fresno, and what was it, late 2016, I think, 17. And then from there, we just kind of started racing together. And so, yeah. But yeah, so Trevor's got a few decades on me and most people that I race with, but it shows. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever beat Trevor?
Once. It's on video too. Look it up.
You have proof. That's
Winter
all you
Finals 2018. He cased a landing, and I took that thing so slow over the last few jumps, like making sure I didn't wreck and have to redo it again. Yeah. So
that's when you drop the you drop the controller, and you retire and say,
"Yeah, no, he
will never beat me again, Trevor."
He beat me with his other truck in the finals a couple rounds later, but no, that was like a peak moment of.
It was pretty funny. It was Charlotte crossover track, and it was at night, so it was hard to judge. And I nailed the jump in the other lane, like I was jumping 35 feet, and it just twisted the truck, put it on its lid, and Jeremy started barely moving around the track, and everyone cheered in the group.
That's my victory
Do
lap.
not roll over. Do not roll over.
Yeah, no, because that's Michael Icano, who's one of the great racers down there too. He like the round before had a race one, and we had like a kicker. It was like the last two jumps. It was like a kicker, and then went over the final. And he had a huge lead, took it too slow over the kicker, and just kind of flopped over.
It happens if you don't run it. If you try and go and just take it in for the easy win, a lot of times you just it's not good. You got to at least keep some speed going. But yeah. That is Bart Simpson move. You know what I'm talking about, Jay. That is it. I would like to announce my retirement from arcade boxing undefeated. That was a great one. That was season 1, I think. Jacob Smallwood's in the house. I see Alan is in here as well. A bunch of guys from your race crew. So you got into racing after a little while, 2016, you said.
17, yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
You got back into RC in 2016. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're right about the same time frame that I got into the monster trucks. And, you know, I saw in some of the groups people like being like, no more Gravediggers, no whatever. But it was the Gravedigger was the first like real RC truck that I bought. It was the Traxxas. And it was in 2013, but I didn't really get into until Axial came out with the SCMT-10.
And then
Yeah, so it's the Traxxas Stampede to start with, but then I got like a low C10, SCTE, and other stuff that was more interesting to me at that time. But then I got back into monster trucks when they came out with the SMT-10 for Axial, and and went to the first race. My first race was the No Limit World Finals.
oh
I don't
wow,
know why
So
I
big.
went to that one first, and there was a ton of people there, and it was insane. Yeah, and I literally built it the week before because I was told to buy, you know, what to buy for it. Anyway, it was a fun weekend, but I did not do well. We'll just say that.
I don't think, well, with the exception of maybe Trevor, like I think all of us had a rough first time, but like we had fun and we're like, I can do better than that. Like, and it brought us back. And now here we are 3 years later doing our own series, but
exactly.
Yeah.
That was always the goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's intimidating though because the entry level or getting into it, the cost of entry is so high for it because everybody's running custom stuff for the most part. So that's the
Exactly.
one thing that I've found with the monster trucks is like, at least in ours, there's not like a super stock class. Like our 2.2 would probably be the slower class, but it's the exact same trucks with smaller wheels on it. So
yeah.
it's not really a slower class, except the wheels are smaller, and so maybe you get a little less speed
Yeah.
because of that. But
Or they might be faster if they're lighter.
right, so it's the cost of entry was tough. But a lot of the guys in our league do run the SMT-10s with just brushless systems, and it's not too crazy. But it was definitely like when I realized how much I had into my first truck, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
I hope my
here we
wife
go.
never finds that spreadsheet.
Yeah. Well, I don't keep those.
Yeah.
I'm not very organized like that. So I'm a very disorganized person with stuff. So, so tell me how monster truck starting, Trevor, probably you first.
Yeah,
in
it was-
California, like what was it when guys were like, dude, we should be racing these things together?
It was hard to get going. I had a Defiance TX Racing Chassis TXT. I had that since like 2004. Didn't make the story fast. In Proline, we went out to Monster Jam World Finals right before Proline announced the Destroyer, the first tire, and we went over to Silver State Nitro Challenge, and I was visiting Daniel Adams, team manager, known him forever. And he's like, we're coming out with the monster truck tire. And I'm like, why didn't anyone ever mention that to me? And from there, Bari had his 4-link Nats. So built a second truck, went out and raced it for the first time. So I had a truck for a while, but never raced monster trucks until I think that was 2014, give or take.
Okay.
We went to that race, actually finished second, first time ever racing anything on carpet. So can't complain about that. Came back, started, and I knew there was a lot left in the truck, decided to build my own chassis, which was originally just for me and friends. And that was, we're going into almost 5 years now, I think. So started that, which of course never existed out here in California before, even though we always wanted monster truck racing. It took about 2 years to get that sorted out. What year did we meet James at World Finals? Jeremy, do you remember?
Probably 2016.
Okay, yeah, James Zimmerman, who was, he had it called Monster Factory. I forget, it was
SoCal Monster Works. Yeah.
He was doing printed tires and wheels, and he messaged me because that's the first year we ran World Finals, and I met him there. Then after that, we got him to come down to our old machinist house, Larry, where we had the test track. He was the first person to start getting the game going and get the group together. From there, it went Michael Icano, and then Chris Ribali, Michael Letcher, Jessica Dahl. All of them, we met them.
And they had been doing events in Michael's backyard for a while too, and they're all on YouTube for years.
Yeah,
so.
But couldn't get them to come out. We went to the first race in Fresno, and after meeting them, we finally got them to start coming around. And it's like, okay, now I've got a group to where we can start a series. But it took a long time. like Eric Crush is well known in the monster truck stuff. He said for years I was the only one that was known out here that had monster trucks actually.
Yeah.
So it's a very accomplishing feeling finally getting something like that to happen out here because it never existed. And then Jeremy followed along. I think I met Jeremy the first time at Donald's house when James delivered your SMT-10 actually.
Yeah.
The
first time you did a long jump.
Yeah, they did a long jump up there. And
we're going to show, guys, you got to stick around for that. There's a pretty sick long jump video we're going to show that they just recently did, right? It
was July.
Yeah. July, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. That was something that was in the works for a long time, too.
Looks like some stuff broke. We'll have to look at it in slow motion.
Not as much as you would think.
Really?
Yeah, not as much as you would think. And I was so far away, and I'll talk about more later. It was hard to judge the angle of the truck from the distance I was because the truck was so fast. And
there's
still a lot left in the truck, actually. There's a lot left in it.
Wow. Yeah, so we'll show that. You got to stick around a little bit for that because it's really, really cool. So you got one going in Southern California. Did it start in the backyard? Is that where the racing was? Because I saw some race videos in a backyard with like all painted up jumps, and I used to watch those.
So that's Michael Letcher's backyard. So he's been doing those for a while, and then we kind of all met in Fresno in September 2017 at a race that Tony Gabriel put on, and then from there, like I did a second event with him in April of the following year, and we got most of those people together again, and it was just not the best location. It was kind of in the back room of a hobby town in Fresno on carpet, and so it wasn't a lot of room, but it was like, okay, we got a good group here that's like actually interested. So later that summer we went and did an event at Hot Rod Hobbies, which is where the winter finals is going to be in a few weeks, but basically it was like super hot out, and the track was all hard still. It was on like a dirt oval, and so like we all broke a lot of stuff that day. But during that year, like we had some miscellaneous events up here that were like part of like crawling events. Like RPP had a crawling event, and they had a monster truck thing. So like James came up because Titan was on display, and so like we ended up racing in the finals, and I beat him, but he won freestyle. So, but no. And then, so we had the first winter finals in 2018. And so after that, it was like, all right, this is awesome. Like, and Trevor and me kind of discussed like if we could do like a California series. And the more we were talking about it was just like, it's such a huge state. Like I looked it up, and just the difference, it's 450 miles from where Chico is, where we had our last race up at A-Main's Silver Dollar RC Speedway, and in Santa Clarita, where we're racing the winter finals. So that's like 7 hours. So, you know, it's quite the difference.
It's a bit of a haul, yeah.
Yeah. So basically we set up, we run like the similar rules and stuff. That they keep points a little different, but like we judge freestyle the same. So basically if you race in one series, you could come up and race in the other two. But yeah, and then we had our first seasons last year, and so the North series just finished ours a couple weeks ago, and then the South has their winter finals here in like 3 weeks.
Okay, and so what's the winter finals? Is that like a big everybody comes in for it, or? So we just did like what New York had one, right? So I just went up to Connecticut for that one that they had, which ended up getting semi-canceled and changed around because the Falcons couldn't make it. Yeah. But so is that open to like anybody to come from either group to the Winter Series? Is it just kind of like a big national event, or?
Well, it's still the final race of their series.
Okay.
But it's such a big event, so it's kind of like its own separate event too. So there's basically trophies for just that event, but also their series is given out too. So there's still points to be earned for their event.
Just more disruptors in there.
Yeah, and we just come to take all the raffle prizes.
Yeah, last year you did too.
Yeah. Hey, but you guys came and took all ours this time, so
that's right. They did, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, Chris Rabali, the luckiest raffle guy alive. So Yeah.
So you run indoor. Well, no, you were running outdoors. I saw it. You were outside of A main.
Yeah.
And you had a whole bunch of jumps set up outside.
Yes. We only run outside. I hate carpet.
Okay.
They run inside sometimes, and if it's going to rain, then we'll be inside, and I'll just be sad. But
I saw somebody was doing. See, and this is where it gets confusing.
Yeah.
I guess somebody was doing like really short races. They were like drag races almost.
That was our last race.
Yeah,
One of our
That was.
that was a lot of fun. Actually, probably the funnest racing we had was the straight line drags.
It was like 2 hits. Like if you weren't off that line, it was all about like getting off the line, right?
Yeah, just like the real thing.
Yeah.
well, 3 when they all hit the wall afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Which was
Just needed to
entertaining.
ramp that and do backflips to finish.
That's exactly what we did on the one side, and the other side had an opening. And I actually one of the times I actually went right through it to slow it, and still not able to stop. But it made it some real entertaining racing.
I was trying to read some of the comments here.
No problem.
Trevor, I just got here. What's that in front of you? Low-C solid axle RC. Is this like a reveal?
No,
Is this a Low-C? No.
No, it's not.
It's better.
Yeah, this is what has not been announced at all yet. I'm the first one to have them. This is the first fully assembled Gen 3 from SoCal Monster Trucks. I actually have 5 of them. I got to assemble one more for myself, and then the other 2 are going out to, one's going to Brandon Scott in Missouri, and the other one's going out to Jaden Doyle.
Who just beat me on Saturday?
And
Twice.
The new,
3
the new one's
times,
gonna be
actually.
back.
He knocked me out 3 times.
Yeah, so it's still in test stages. It's a little ways out. We have some of the current gen ones. We have to get orders filled here. Now that we've got a new machinist up and running. But I'm assuming this will be, once everything's gone, this will probably be out late December. I'm thinking maybe a bit before if we can make it happen.
So that's the Warpath 3, Gen 3?
It's the Gen 3. Yeah, we're not sure if we're going to call it the Warpath. There's a couple other names we're throwing around, so we'll see. But we had, for Generation 2, we had the 2.0, and we had what we called the JZI. James took pictures of the real Titan truck and mimicked the way the carbon was cut. So we had a scale-looking chassis as well, but still had all our race geometry. They were identical, everything other than the way the carbon was cut. And I actually liked the way the stiffer truck worked. So we took out, like you can see here, this here's all open now. Is one of the big things, so you can access the nuts on the inside of the lower 4-link bolts at the cradle.
Uh-huh.
Have
That
a
was one of the
JZI right here.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you wanted to
So
show the difference, I could show you. So,
okay, yeah, actually, yeah, it'd probably be faster for you.
all right. So here's the JZI.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So good luck getting to all these in here. So
So that's one of the things. We dropped the battery lower. Electronics tray went forward and it went lower. I recessed the chassis on the ends right in here and right in here so the axles can come up further into the chassis. We raised the shock tower a little bit and we lowered the transmission a little bit more even. So like the battery actually has a relief on the battery tray. The battery sits directly on top of the transmission and actually makes contact with it. So it's wild. It still looks like a monster truck, which was a big thing. We like a full length chassis. So it's going to be a nice piece. I can't wait to run it for the first time.
So I was asking you before this about the axles that you run on this as well, because everybody
Correct.
has their different axles that you run. And so you're running something based off the AR60s, but you
Correct.
beefed it up a little bit.
Yeah,
A lot,
full,
actually.
exactly. And if you want to race one of these trucks, it's the way to do it. The axial drivetrain is actually really good if you build it right. So we run Vanquish housings throughout the truck. Don't give Jaden anything else.
That's Marlin.
Exactly. How you doing, Marlon? But yeah, so Vanquish housings, knuckles, C-hubs, axle shafts, the ring and pinions. You can either run the Axial HD ring and pinions or the Vanquish incision. Both hold up perfect.
Yeah.
When you go with those rear end housings, that actually fixes a huge portion and the problem of the AR60 stock housing. I run the plastic trans case, but I do run the steel gears in it and MIP drive shafts, and away you go. I mean, it's an expensive setup to go, but you want to go racing, you want something that's fast and something that's reliable and you don't have to worry about it's really what you need to do.
So you're running the SMT 10 transmission. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. So, but you have the steel gears, which they come with now.
Yeah.
But you run whatever steel gears that you have in yours. But okay.
Yeah, I've got the axial in one truck, and I got or two trucks, and one truck's got the incision. They work there. Never seen a difference. So they both are pretty.
Very cool. Is that, Jeremy, how yours is set up? Same kind of way? A lot of axial base with
like
bolted onto that trick chassis?
It's Trevor's built both my trucks, and I'll hopefully be getting one of these pretty soon. So
and these are for sale for people that want to buy them as well eventually?
This chassis will be. I've actually built several turnkey trucks. The first one I built for Donald Ependinio. I did Jason Rona's truck, which that's not the newest spec now. I'm trying to think. I did 3 more for Donald, actually, which are all spec just like this. We're pretty much identical, same electronics, servos, shocks, everything.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. And I know I did one other truck for sure. That's a complete turnkey truck. But that was before, I think, the Vanquish housings. But when I build them, I only build them how I build my trucks, because the equipment's reliable. It works. I've proven it. Anyone that sees the videos of the trucks, I have no hesitation. I'll fly the truck 8-10 feet in the air like it's nothing, and the truck can do it jump after jump, and they just suck it up, and you don't have to worry about anything. So everything's been so proven equipment wise. That's why when someone comes to me, it's like, well, if you want to run a different shock, we can recommend maybe a different shock setup to go with, but we want to stick to what we know really works and what's winning on top of it.
Yeah. Are those Pro Line shocks on that?
Actually, they're TLR.
TLR. Okay.
Yeah. And the only bummer about doing the shocks from TLR or any of the race companies is, for the most part, you have to piece them together.
Yeah.
The shocks on this truck, front and rear, are off the 22T 2.0 and 3.0, but specifically those 2 generations of truck and the rear shock. That's the longest shock that they have made in 10 scale, and the 12 millimeter.
So you have to buy the bodies, you have to buy the shafts separate, all the different pieces and components, and assemble.
Correct. You have to buy the pistons, exactly. The shock
guide. It's a little more expensive that way. Yeah.
Retail, they're like, if you pay full retail, including springs and mounts, you're looking at $240 for a set of shocks. But the shocks are incredible. Any of the race shock stuff, is the way to go. It's worth it in the long run if you can afford to do it.
Yep. And people spend a lot of money on stuff, so
and
we can complain about cost of things, but then they buy $5 coffees, and we spend money on things that interest us. And if you want to race and you want to win, sometimes you got to invest in it. So
exactly.
Cool. What are the links that you're running? The lower trailing arms.
There are 4 links. Ours are a little bit different
you
than
make
most. Larry used to do everything in his garage. He was actually a retired electrician, and he worked for us up until June when he decided to retire. But they're around 4-link. You can get this one too, but they're also so where you can link mount them. So it's got, when the tires are on, it kind of hides the 4-link or the link mounting, so it looks a lot more scale. All the aluminum on our trucks is all 70-75, so it's all real high grade aluminum.
Yeah, super tough.
That was something I was very particular on from the get-go. We are at chassis number 120, if I'm correct now.
Wow.
And we've sold some 4-links for SMT 10s, and I have not heard of one bending. And if anyone would have bent one from just use and jumping it, it would have been me, the way I fly the trucks. And haven't had a failure yet. The shock package helps a lot, though, because the trucks really are like landing on a pillow.
Huh. That's
so
nice.
It's all machine stuff. Yeah. So it's all really nice.
Yeah. They make mediocre drivers good, and they make good drivers really, really hard to beat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I do tell people that when they ask, because there's so many people that have taken the trucks and have told us and told me specifically how this truck drives and what they feel and the difference of it. And when you get the feedback and you get a lot of it, it tells you that you're doing a good job. Because we do things all different than a lot of the other monster truck guys. I wanted to keep stuff traditional, but I also used all my off-road background And so far, it's been working really well. We've been very successful with it, which just makes it just even that much more fun.
So here's a question from Michael D, and this is a good question, and it's one I have as well because I run them, but I don't know if everybody does. Do you guys run servo savers on yours, or do you just go direct and because you're racing?
Yeah. We just tend to use the Spectrum. Those servos, they're Donald proof. So like if Donald can beat on these things the way he drives his trucks and they last as long as they do, like, I mean, this servo on that truck I just showed, that's been on there since April of last year. It's been through 2 seasons and it's still in one piece.
So what one is that? Can you read the number off it? Is that their
Spectrum? Yeah, 6280.
Yeah, I have one of those on my freestyle, but I run their servo saver on it.
What I found was with the servo savers, there's no servo saver that has a spring that works proper. They'll give in the middle of the corner. When you really get on the truck, especially if you're mid corner, you lay into the throttle, it'll actually, the front end will want to straighten out, even though you're still turning. So freestyle, you can get away
power. You
want the truck to be positive and solid. Exactly. Like all our off-road race stuff, there's no servo savers other than on an 8 scale. And even then you run them pretty much locked down because you have to have the precise steering.
Yeah. Precision. That's the word I was looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah. All about precision. When you have that on and you know it right away, because if you put my truck on the ground and you turn the steering, you don't get much because unless you're moving, it's not going to move the wheels. But I clip a lot of things, and I'm not the best driver that's handled an RC before.
So a simple solution to that is buy a really expensive servo, and then you start driving a lot more careful.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a Reefs Raw 500 on one setup. And 2 more of those I have to go pick up from Joshua Williams, who's in the chat. And then I have the 6280 on one. So, and then something else from ProTech. That's a black one that was all digital, where you turn it off and there's like no. So it's supposed to be their nice one, but I don't. But yeah, I'm a big fan of their savers in that I have not ever broken a servo since I put them on. So that's been pretty good. Oh, we lost Trevor. There he is. There he is. So now you're in a different spot. You've kind of stepped down to 3rd place in the in the ring here.
Trevor's never finished that low.
But yeah. So Jeremy, tell me about with the racing. You're running it, right? So tell us a little bit about what NorCal racing is. If people are in Northern California and they want to come check out monster truck racing,
sure.
Where is it? What is the day like for people? How can they come and they beat you?
Sure. Well, a lot of times I just beat myself, but no. So you can go to NorCalRCMT.com, or it's NorCal RCMT on Facebook and Instagram. We actually just finished our point series a couple weeks ago, but basically next year we're introducing a retro class, and we're also we run a 2.2 and a 2.6 class. So we basically, a typical day will be you'll get 2 practice laps. There's Zach's truck getting some air. You'll get 2 practice laps. You'll get 2 qualifying passes, and then you'll get the brackets set up. And we do single elimination bracket racing, and then we'll do a judge freestyle. And like I said, next year we're introducing the retro class, and we actually have some Barbie cars and some we have some like
crush cars.
So misformed bodies from J Concepts. They sent us out, so we're gonna paint those up too, so we can have actual cars to crush in our retro class next year. So we awesome. We have some new venues that we're gonna be going to. One's in Rescue, which is Rescue Community RC Raceway. So it's basically RCRCR. So that's about an hour east of Sacramento, up in the foothills. They're super excited. We're gonna be doing 3 events there next year. They have a dirt oval that they're basically let us have free reign of, and then we've been doing
Nice.
events up at Chico.
So that kind of feels like some of those like the small races that we get in here, like the when the non-Monster Jam filled stuff comes to town and they take over like an oval area and you just go in the middle and then they race around the outside and tear it up. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, they're letting us have full reign of it, so so that'll be fun. And then A-Main Silver Dollar Speedway up in Chico, so for round 4, they basically cleared out the 8-scale track because they were going to change it over, and so we made a full scale, all out of dirt, over under track for round 4, and it was awesome. And so we're planning on doing that for the North versus South next year. But basically, they're going to be building a new complex up there, and they're actually going to let us have our own space just for monster truck stuff where we can build our own tracks. So yeah, so next year is going to be really exciting. Having basically a huge dirt space just for monster trucks and being able to really go crazy on some of these tracks that we're going to set up. And we've got some other stuff too, but basically we got a good group that's starting to come consistently now. And then like people that came last year to a couple races came to all the races this year. And like, instead of having just like one truck, they're building 2 trucks, and now they're building retros. So, we've got at least 3 guys going down for the winter finals. So, it's usually just been me going down. So we're trying to build a fun rivalry with the South guys. So we had a North versus South race this year where 8 of them came up. So basically we had 33 entries in the monster truck class, and that's where Trever did his long jump too. So it was split pretty even. So this next year we want it to be even bigger, and we're going to try and get Jason Rona to come out. Because he keeps saying he wants to come out to lose. No, I want him on our side, so we're gonna do it as kind of a North versus South. So somebody to mess with Trever finally, like, because they came up and spoke to us, but that's what happens when you've got guys who've been doing this longer that we're racing in the world finals before we were even a series, So it's not excuses. It's just when you got more practice, you're gonna be better. So, but. We've got some good racers coming now, and like the guy who won it all last year wasn't at the North versus South this year. The guy who won our series this year wasn't at that race. So, I think we've got some competition for them at least. And at the end of the day, though, I just want it to be a fun, like, friendly rivalry. So, and just keep the scene growing out here.
So, what are your rules as far as like for your class? Do you have any like things they can't do? Like,
you can pull up the rules if you want on the website. But like, so what do you mean? Like for the trucks or just kind of like racing in general? So basically we have it as solid axle. We have it limited to 3S batteries. The chassis just have to be like the length of the truck. So like we don't have the cubes.
Okay.
But yeah, just kind of like, we allow like the bomber style ones in the 2.2 class. But like we want to have the monster trucks be like actual like the monster truck like based trucks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
do you guys do quad axles as well?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, as long as especially with next year when we're doing the retros. So the retros, it's basically the same as Trigger King, since that's just kind of like it's become the generally accepted retro truck.
Exactly.
And basically that's along the same lines as what they're running down south too. I mean, we're not overly particular. It's just basically we want, as long as it's solid axle, looks like a monster truck, like, and it's not ridiculously overpowered, like, but at the end of the day, we still want it to be monster trucks. Like,
I've got to tell you, I love this right here. Not this picture.
Yeah.
Rule number 9. Gearing for quad busters must be 13-tooth pinion using stock motor mount. I like that.
Yeah, like I said,
Makes it easy.
these are pretty much the same as
It
Trever
delineates
teams.
it from being like a pro mod
Right.
clodbuster when you
Yeah.
start gearing up
Yeah,
that
and
27 tooth till it's almost
yeah,
as
and
fast.
the point of our retros is like, and same with up there or down there too, is it's just like meant to be fun. It's, they're slow and bouncy and,
Yep.
like, I mean, yeah, skill plays into it, but it's a lot more variance, just like how the truck bounces, and they're
Yep.
all slow and they're all the same speed. So it makes it just kind of more fun, I think.
All of
So.
mine were 13 tooth stock until I went to Connecticut and raced. And there was no like Barbie cars to upset your truck or like log stacks or
Mhm.
things that like flipped you over, things that you hit it wrong or with speed. And so if you had an 18 tooth pinion, you were like way gone. And I'm sitting back there on my 13 tooth, wishing there was something that those guys could hit with the 18 tooth and just roll over, and there was nothing. But I do like that. That rule.
Yeah, and then one of the freestyle kind of judging that we both do, it's kind of based on what Toughest Monster Truck Tour and Brian Wagner's shows are, where it's based on different aspects. So it's out of 30, but we allow one rollover with a 3-point deduction. And then so there's one that's, you get a scale of 1 to 10 based on the amount of time used, one on like the momentum and the use of the track, and then the other is based on like tricks and stuff. So if you go out and send it, but you only do 20 seconds, it's not going to be like Monster Jam in the early 2000s where, that wins. But so that way it's actually, freestyle is actually kind of a skill, making it last and keeping your truck on all fours. And, so it makes it more interesting that way. So
very cool. Trever, are you guys different in rules and stuff and in the layout and format, or is it pretty similar? What's it like coming to you guys?
Pretty much the exact same. We put the rules together. Me and Jeremy went back and forth to make it simple and also kind of round it off of what everyone else's rules are. We don't have a 2.2 class. We only have the retros, and then we have the race trucks. So it makes it a little bit more slimline there, but I just did that. There was just no reason with the group that we had to put another class in. We run open practice a little bit longer. We'll run like a half hour, an hour per track layout of open practice if we can, and then go into qualifying.
So but other than practice, that's cool.
Yeah,
well, they also do 2 rounds per time they race too. So we only do
2 different track layouts per race day, exactly.
And then that's cool.
Then we do freestyle to follow it up. And I like to run laps. I've always have. So that was kind of where my practicing came in. Is it lets, if you're on the surface you're on, it kind of lets the surface come in a little bit and groove in and or smooth out, and you get the pebbles out. And people want to, when they're at the track, they want to drive their trucks. So that's where why we do run practice as much as we can.
I like it.
Yeah. And we don't do that because when we're racing on dirt and stuff, especially at the place we were using for the first part of this year, just because of COVID, the dirt was not ideal and it was not holding water much. So, we didn't want to have a completely destroyed track before we even ran a lap that counted.
Yeah. That makes
plus
sense.
we were adding paint and stuff. So we made it where it was just, everybody gets the same amount. We had some people that are in town. We have some people like Jake, who's on here, coming from, 3-4 hours away. We had some people coming out of state too, to our races. So just for that case, it was just easier to have everybody get the same amount of track time based on the number of trucks. And so it kind of, it made it so then it kind of adds where, you only get 2 shots at it and then qualifying. So you're getting 4 laps on the track before you're actually racing.
You get 2 hits for practice.
Yeah. So basically,
practice, though.
Right. Yeah. So you're getting, so basically you have everybody pair up after the driver's meeting, run the track, switch lanes, do it again. And then, whatever other trucks they have. And then you'll do qualifying, best of your 2 times. So you're getting 4 takes on the track before you're actually running a race.
That's still cool.
Yeah, and it keeps the track still intact before it's just completely destroyed.
Do you guys have to water as you keep going, or no? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because where we're racing it during the summer, it's hot.
You don't get enough rain anyway.
Yeah. Well,
right?
yeah. Well, we skipped fall. We're just in winter now. We had about a week and a half of fall up here.
The leaves were just like goodbye.
Yeah, well, now it's just cold and it's supposed to rain the next few days, so I'm kind of bummed.
That's the same here. It's not cold though. It's like 80 here, but
oh yeah,
today. But it's gonna rain, so there's that. Our winters are actually awesome in Virginia Beach. Like we live for fall, winter, spring, and we just stay inside in the summer.
Yeah,
it's so humid because we get a lot of rain in the summer and humidity. So,
Oh no, thanks.
Yeah, it's miserable.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So let's talk about this. Let's get that video up here because that was wicked cool.
So this is from the North
up.
versus South race. Trevor and me have been talking. Trevor wanted to do a long jump for a while, and like I said, when we first met up at Donald's, we just had a bunch of ramps set up, and he sent it over all the trucks we had lined up. And so this was the one time we were gonna have a place where we had enough room for it, and so we did a parade lap, and we lined up all the trucks, put out like 3 or 4.
I'm just gonna skip ahead to show a little bit.
Oh, well, no, just
we're not gonna play it yet, but there's all the trucks lined up.
Yeah,
we'll show it on one.
So Trevor can
the
talk
distance
about how
as well.
this
Look
thing
at how
to the
far
moon.
back he is. Holy cow! Because I didn't realize that the few times I've played it, because it's just this beginning part goes so fast when you hit play that you're all until it slow mos. Well, let's play it.
Yeah, go for it. That's about 9-10 feet off the ground.
And that's just 3 plastic ramps, kicker ramps. And that is where I thought something broke because the rear kind of flopped. Was it like a rod end or something or no?
Yeah, it actually broke. I run Lunsford titanium screws on my trucks, and it actually broke one at the cradle on the left rear of the forelink. It snapped it. And so, of course, the rear end swung out then. But yeah, the truck was a 2-cell race truck, exactly prepped how my race trucks are prepped, other than it was just geared differently. I was probably 150 foot back or so, I would think, Jeremy. What do you think?
Yeah, at least 100 feet.
So I was way back. And the truck came
everybody get out of the way.
Yeah, we had everyone get out of the way because I had tested the truck, and it was probably
look at the wheels ballooning too. The fact that you kept it straight right there. They are ballooning.
And I had to back out of it and get back in the throttle because it wanted to start the wheelie. I've raced Nitro 8 scale and everything else, and I've always raced modified off-road, and this is the fastest thing I've ever driven, actually. It was scary fast, and it had so much wheel speed. I was off throttle when those jumps are only 12 inches tall, by the way, so it's not a big deal.
No, that's impressive, even for my bashers to go that far off of those ramps. Like an Armo one, that's impressive.
Exactly. It had so much wheel speed, the front end carried over, and then I was so far back, I tapped the brakes, and it nosed over. And watching the video, if I would have left it where it would have actually landed just a little nose first, would have been perfect. But being so far back and standing on the ground, it looked like it was nosing straight in. So I barely got on the throttle, but it's geared so tall, it then over-rotated the front and slapped the rear. If it would have landed flat, it would have been no big deal, but we ended up jumping 60 feet, which most people don't think about. A big rig trailer, like you see what Monster Jam uses, or NHRA drag racing, that's a 53-foot long trailer. So we went longer than a long trailer, which is incredible to think.
Wow.
And the truck was nowhere near wound out. It's still, I could gear it up just a hair taller, and there's still, I bet you, if I would have hit it wound out, we probably could have got another 10 feet off that jump. So we could get some more distance easily out of it.
Sheesh.
And I wanted to do it for a long time. And then I approached Josh, as I couldn't find anyone else that I could think of that would go by a standard rule with a jump and use a standard 2-cell race truck. So I talked to Josh Zimmerman of Freestyle, and I'm like, hey, you want to do this? Because me and Josh are good friends. We talk fairly often. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm on board. What do you want to do? And how do you want to do it? So
what did he get? Did he do it too?
He jumped it. They landed 53 feet, I think. The truck landed flat enough to where it soaked it up. So, to me, that's an official jump because it landed on all 4. And we've got the distance. There's no question we can go further, but their truck landed flat.
So it sounds like you need to have a rematch.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna go further. So I'm now shooting for 70 plus. Originally, I was just hoping for 50 feet. And when I geared the truck up and saw how fast it was, I knew there was some room
Now,
for
were you
some.
racing it on that gearing too, or did you change it after racing? I was going to say,
No,
that's wicked.
Yeah, no, it definitely.
That's
it's
2S, you said?
That's on a 2-cell battery.
Jeez.
Everything else is the same other than the way the truck was geared. Same shock setup, exact same truck.
Turn the
I'll try to
steering
go
down
back
a
here
little.
to some of
Yeah.
turn the steering down so you're not all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. I turned it down like 30% in point, or dual rate, I should say. I just did it that way, just to make it stable. And it was surprisingly stable, other than if you watch the video real close, it started to pull a wheelie. I had to back off of it a little bit, got back in it, and started to pull a wheelie again right before it hit the jump. So that's how much was still left in the truck. So I'm excited to do it again.
Yeah. So here's a question I didn't get the answer to. I didn't think about. Who won the North versus the South?
It wasn't Chris. He won all the raffles though. But.
Well, did you guys as like North and South compete for the
Well,
most points?
so
from
we
your,
were
like.
That's kind of the structure we're planning on doing next year. But no, racing was I think 6 of the. Or
you just wanted to come home with the trophy. To the North
we
and
have pretty
South.
sweet trophies too. I don't know if Trevor's got it lying around, but
not here.
Oh, okay, no, but no. So Trever won racing, big shock, and then Zach from the SoCal guys won freestyle. Trevor and Zach tied for
Zach
freestyle.
Suarez?
No, Zach. Oh, yeah, right. Zach Suarez. No, Zach McKenzie.
Oh yeah.
One in the cheer off.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no. It was pretty. Like I said, we had some guys that didn't show up, and they came in full force, ready to go. So cool story. So semifinals was basically Trevor's 2 versus Michael Iacano's 2 trucks. And in the first race, Iacano barely beat Trever, but he hit one of those ramps that Trever jumped in the long jump that was at the end of the track, and he broke the rod end off?
Yes.
Yeah. And so he brought his other truck out, and like 2 or 3 of the other racers like fixed it for him so he'd be ready to go in the finals like 2 minutes later.
Wow.
So, and then have him back out there, and Trever then beat him, but like it was still pretty cool, like camaraderie and all that stuff. To
having 2 different drivers in the finals versus one, which is always really the best thing for a show. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what worked out.
That's very cool. So somebody was asking, do you have a gyro installed for the big jump? I'm going to guess the answer is no on that one.
You got that right.
Yeah. It would have to have been installed later because nobody races with the gyros in. But
yeah, and they're not legal in racing actually either. But yeah, that's all drivers.
Zach.
You don't have to be rude about it.
Yeah. No, Zach's cool. He's been he joined after North versus South. He wasn't cool enough to show up for that. He's coming down to the winter finals though, and he's already built a retro too. So he's got two Excalibur trucks. So, and yeah, he's been really helpful in planning next year already. So
awesome.
So what's next? We'll get ready to wrap up here. We've been going for almost an hour. So we'll at least be thinking in that direction. What's coming for 2021? Hopefully all this COVID stuff clears up and things can somewhat get back to normal for racing.
And that's been a huge, just trying to plan stuff has been really difficult. Like this year we were supposed to start in April and we ended up starting in June, and we were racing at a different facility because the one we were planning on racing at was closed until like July. So, and things are already starting to ramp up, so who knows? But like I said, we got new venues. Thanks to BC O'Neill of Blue Crush and Mega Trucks, he sent out some funds so we could get some cameras for YouTube next year. So basically, we're gonna have 6 cameras to capture everything all around the track. And then also just thanks to Jason and Mac at J Concepts for all their support and help. They were our series title sponsor, and hopefully we'll be again going forward because we really want to have them come out and race with us and get to experience what we've been doing out here on the West Coast. So
absolutely.
Very cool. Trever, same thing for you guys, or?
Yeah, same thing for us. We got winter finals, get through that, and then plan for next year. Try to find, because when we lost Larry, we lost him. Also, that was one of our test tracks, but also that was where we held races. So we lost that track. We're gaining another place, OCRC. It's awesome. The Blacks there, they let us come in, and we use the carpet track as their test, or not their test track, but their rental program for their short course stuff. So we are thankful to have that, because like for winter finals last year, we got rain, so we were able to go in there last minute. And we like to keep them on the dirt, but it'll be a busy year. I mean, winter finals for sponsors right now, we have Horizon Hobby, which of course covers Spectrum, covers Axial, covers Veloci products. We have J Concepts, we have Proline. This year, the first time is Lunsford Racing's a sponsor for winter finals, and we're still working on more for that race. So we should have a lot of cool things for all the racers to take home. I'm really looking forward to it. And then we'll see, like this year, I actually retired from the points part of the series at the last race. I just had too much going on. Next year, I may not run for points at all, like I pulled out this year. And I like just racing, so the points don't really matter. At this point in my career, it's not a big deal. Winter finals, I am competing with both trucks. So, yeah, no, both trucks will be out there. Both trucks will be race
now,
prep.
Do you have a retro too?
I have a retro too. Yeah, I've got a Bigfoot 6 retro. So I will run the retro.
Stock chassis and everything, or is it all?
It has fiberglass side plates on it from Eric Crush to give it a scale look, but it's actually a stock chassis. That truck's going to probably be shelved and maybe do one of Jason's chassis. I've been talking to him, and he told me just let him know, and he'll send one out, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm busy.
Oh, you have the regulator?
Yeah, the regulator right here.
I just built one, and man, is it a great build.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finally getting to race it. So I put this together.
I was stumped by the battery tray a little bit, even after watching the video. But I'd done it right. I just wasn't confident that I'd done it right. But man, are they smooth.
Yeah.
And we have, like, I've got a lot of help with the series. I couldn't do it. I've got a first year, Michael Iacano took care of all the points and helped. Then this year, his friend Zach McKenzie came on. Zach takes care of all of our scoring, which is awesome. He's actually showed me how he has the program set up. And then Michael, they both helped with track setup. Actually, all of our crew will help with track setup. The last race I had, my back was hurt, so I couldn't do it. And last minute, because I had to disassemble OCRC's track, their test track or their try-me track, and get everything off to set up our track. And within an hour, 4 of our racers were out there, and they set up the track for me. So I've got a lot of help, which it's put together. The series is put on for the racers, and it's awesome that they come out and help when you really need.
People don't realize how much goes into making it all work and come together.
Exactly.
Yeah. When do you guys do the winter finals?
December 5th, and hopefully weather holds off. We get to go back on the dirt oval at Hot Rod, which is an awesome place to run the trucks, get them on the dirt. These things are just so much more fun when you're in dirt. You can slide them around and drive them like a monster truck wants to be driven. Yeah. Versus carpet, like on the carpet, if you land a little sideways or something, it just, the tire rolls over and it just takes the truck and flips it.
Yeah, I can confirm that.
Yeah. I think that's why I ended up doing so well this past weekend, was because I mean, I'm a basher that I like monster trucks enough to race them, but like, I'm not a racer. I don't have the heart of a racer, even, I guess, probably. Like, I'm not that competitive. So
understandable.
I go out there to have a blast, make videos, chat, and hang out. But but I'm used to playing on the dirt, and I'm used to swinging my cars around and letting them slide. And a lot of times we've been racing on cement because that's where our hobby shops are, as parking lots, and I have a hard time controlling on asphalt. Yeah, it's a total different animal, and the way these trucks drive, and they handle real well because everything's so low. But that's what allows them to flat track and slide through the corners even better, which just makes it so much more fun. Yeah, but we do. Josh was saying, but we always have fun. Yeah, it's always a riot anyway. Exactly. I wouldn't stop racing because we're on cement, but man, do I love it when we do hit, especially at Digger's Dungeon. Their dirt is like, it's great dirt. So yeah, great dirt makes things a lot of fun. Yeah. So we didn't even wet it down at all this past weekend at all. There was no hoses, and it still held together pretty well. I mean, it was getting a little loose out there, but I mean, everybody was running it that way, and I mean, people like Jaden made it look even faster because it was loose, because he could just slide the corners so tight and just throw dirt and go. But Yeah, it's wicked fun. But guys, thanks for coming on here, telling us a little bit more about what you're doing. Your chassis, like I said, I've heard of the Warpath, but this weekend was the first time I really saw it with Jaden's, and I've gone back and watched the videos of how he was landing and everything, and I'm like, huh, okay. Mine only landed like that after I got the Freestyle, where it had the Pro C has the cantilever, and it just. But then the truck, twerks the whole time you're driving, like front, back, where those ones don't, but they still just plush. Like you said, pillow top landing.
Yeah, and I run longer travel trucks than they do, but just the geometry that we hit and the positions on everything, it lands. Even a short shock truck, it lands really well. It's been pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, his is pretty short. He's got it pretty tight. Tucked. Yeah. So, but. Well, cool guys. Thanks for coming on here. Thanks for everybody in the chat. And what do you guys think the Losi? Last question, just leaving out. Not what do you think it's going to be, but if Losi brings something, which we kind of know they are because they said they were going to before the end of the year, what does that mean for racing? Is that it seems like it opens up opportunities for people to get in easier.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be what they're doing. If they do it, it's going to be huge. And if they go with the right markets, it's going to get even more popular because, if you go with the right marketing, that can make and break or something. And if you get in with the right names, then there's so much out there. I'm incredibly excited. It's been a long time since we've needed something that if they do it right and everything's done how I think it should be, as long as it's what they say it's going to be, the truck will be durable, which is typical of that brand. It's going to have performance. You'll have tons of aftermarket support, way better than what the Axial stuff would be, I would think. So I can't wait to see what they end up announcing and what's the future holds down the road.
Axial did fall into some pretty good aftermarket just because of the Wraith had some already.
Exactly.
But, it's still marketed toward Wraith and Bomber people, not even toward the SCMT 10.
It's still crawler based stuff though.
So you buy the axles like from Vanquish and they're for like the Yeti or for the Bomber is what they sell them as, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but I hope, because Losi's performance, right? That's what a performance brand of Horizon. So I'm hoping that's
I just want to see it. I've been hearing rumors about it for like the whole year, and I'm just wondering what it's going to finally turn out looking like, and how it actually performs and what we can do with it.
Yeah, well, the teaser doesn't even let us know what the tread pattern really looks like because it's like they rolled over it twice. It looks like. So one, a lot of people thought it was huge, and like big, going to be fifth scale, and other people thought that the tread patterns were weird, but it looks like it ran over it twice. So.
Exactly.
I don't even know what that looks like.
And I can throw a more interesting thing, didn't mean to interrupt you in on it.
I want to hear it.
Way before the Axial SCMT 10 came out, they actually called me in and we had a meeting with Todd Hodge, Richard Trujillo, Scott Hughes was still working there, Yuka Sonari was still working there, and we all had a meeting about them doing a monster truck before the SCMT 10 ever came out.
Huh.
So
with Losi?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that was something that happened. And so we're talking 4 years ago, give or take. Yeah. So that was a cool thing. It never came out at that time, and I asked for a long time. So them deciding to possibly do a monster truck is a pretty damn cool thing.
Yeah, and they've been thinking about it hopefully for a while, it sounds like.
Yeah,
that could be big things for us.
Yeah, and I've always reported to them how we're doing and how the trucks are selling, and I was always putting that information in the ear of pretty much their surface program manager who oversees all the surface of Horizon, just so they knew that the stuff was popular and there was a place for it.
I wonder if Axial had already firmed up the licensing though, and that might have been a step away thing for Losi. You know what I mean? If they realized that they couldn't get a big name on the truck that would sell, it might have been this isn't the time.
That's very possible. I mean, I don't know that side of it.
I
but
don't
yeah,
either. I'm just speculating. It's RC's
Yeah.
conspiracies. We don't have to have answers. We just have to ask
Absolutely.
questions. So yeah, everyone, the suspense is killing us. I did hear, so Losi Motorsports has a new page, a group.
Yeah,
The
I've seen
tour,
that.
Losi Motorsports Tour group.
Sure.
And they're
Yeah, I don't-
supposed to have some exclusive thing tomorrow about it. So if you guys aren't in there, I just saw the post that said, hey, I'm guessing a lot of you new people are here because of the picture. And they're
Exactly.
going to have an exclusive something tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. I'm going to be.
And history has it, their product announcements are always on Thursdays. Correct.
Thursdays.
So I'll always be looking on a Thursday if there's something new coming from them. With Thursday, I don't know.
Yeah, unless there's a crazy leak. There was one this year that they let out early because the cat got out of the bag big time. But yes, I invited a bunch of people actually after I read that thing when I was in the group. So people are saying they got my invite. But anyway, guys, thanks again for doing this. Hopefully we'll chat again soon. Hopefully we'll get to meet up at one of the Monster Jam World Finals. I was supposed to be there with you guys in Orlando this year. But it, everything fell through this year, right? The whole year kind of caved in on us.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, will you take care? We're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
All right. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.